did you meet Dagon?
That's, I credit Odin Thompson for that, from Morbid Records. We were sitting in his house, filling out distro orders, listening to black metal. He would always have some visuals on the TV, not some like sick, twisted, violent videos. It would just be like nature stuff. Doing our daily routine, phone rings, and it's Jason. He's like, "Hey, I'm back from Colombia. I'm back for good this time." This was 1996. Mm-hmm. He would always come back from Colombia to work or see family at least once a year. But in '96, he came back for good. He needed a drummer because he didn't bring any of his bandmates up with him. And I was desperately, that was right at the time I was with Blood Ritual, rehearsing with him, but I didn't have my own thing. I didn't have my own band. So it was the perfect timing. Jason said, "Hey, I don't know if you know anybody, but I need a drummer, and he's got to be able to play double bass like Steve Ashim." And before he finished, he was like, "Here, you got to talk to this guy. He needs a drummer." And from that first conversation, we clicked. The next weekend, we met up at a practice place, a rental practice place that had gear already set up. I had already been listening to his albums for that week, his past albums, Incense Arrest and the demos, and Forever Under. And I completely learned him because I had a drum kit at Odin's, so I'd have headphones and play to it. We show up, or he shows up, I set the drums up, and he's like, "Do you want to play a riff?" And I'm like, let's play track 2 off of Incense Arrest, and went right into it. And he's like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And he's like, "I actually didn't intend on playing these songs because I have riffs for the newer stuff, but hey, let's go through it." And it just instantly clicked. We had a lot in common, and we both needed that connection at the time. It was like a perfect timing.
And how would you describe him? His personality.
His personality?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. One of a kind person. I think that's why since '96 it's been just smooth sailing. We're definitely completely opposites, and I think that's how it works. Sometimes they say like in a male-female relationship, opposites attract, or that's how it works. Two of the same butt heads. He's a very passionate person. I mean, of course I am too, but he's a very passionate person and very strong-minded. And I think if there was 2 of us like that, it wouldn't have worked the way I am quite passive and mellow. I like everything to be calm. So it was a perfect band mix.
And why did you choose the stage name Incubus?
Well, that's demons. Demons. I wanted demons names, type of names for demons. I was going through. Actually, once again, Odin Thompson helped out with this. We were going through books. It was getting kind of crazy. Some of the pronunciations of the names that we were looking at. I wanted something basic, but something. I guess an incubus is a demon that sucks energy from a human being, and I tried to do that with my drums. So, and it definitely sucks energy for me. So it was perfect. It was perfect. Perfect timing. And of course, we knew of the thrash metal band Incubus at the time. I was like, is it right to? Well, people mention that too much, like, oh, he took the name from Incubus, and there's another pop band named Incubus. But it never was a problem, and it stuck.
And what does Satanism mean to you?
It means life. It means true life. I could go into the whole, it's the animalistic nature, it's the law of nature, but truly to me, it's a real person that can admit their goods and bads and feed off their good and negative sides. And also, a little bit of it when I was younger was to offend people, and it's definitely not that anymore. And I do get upset now when people get offended when I tell them I'm a Satanist, and they are immediately drawn away without even knowing exactly what that means, and they're actually talking to a real, honest person that is not judging them. People are learning though. People know a Satanist doesn't mean Satan worshiper or devil worshiper. Things are changing quite a bit all over the world. I think with religion being more accepting of different ideas. I won't say the Catholic Church will ever accept Satanists, but I think with a lot of what's going on lately in the world, people are more knowledgeable than ever to make their own decisions. I think people may not call themselves Satanists, but if they read a little definition of what it is, they'd be like, huh, that's actually kind of how I am. And there's going to be people that pervert it into something evil, and that to me is a bad Christian that say they're a Satanist and they use it for, they think they can be a bad person, or evil is being mean to somebody or something like that.
How did your ideology and philosophy change since you're in the band? I'm asking this question because also Inquisition has evolved a lot,
Yeah.
philosophy-wise and idea-wise.
Yeah. Well, my ideology of the band, to me, it doesn't change. It just grows and stacks on top of itself. Yes, every other word in Jason's lyrics aren't Satan all the time, and I don't want to say cliche because I love using the overdone classic black metal memes, because that's what keeps it classic. Even though we've changed, we still definitely see ourselves as classic black metal, and that's something that should be respected and not, oh, that's the old stuff, put it away.
It doesn't sound old to me at all.
Yeah, but I'm sure you've especially when this term post-black metal was created, which I think is a horrible thing, because that means that something that was once great is not anymore. That might not be the people that think that way is intention, but whenever you put post on something, it means that an era is done growing. So it's not growing. And I think that we've proven that you can still grow sounding a certain way. A lot of people say all our albums sound the same, but I can point out so many ways that each album is completely different. And hey, AC/DC and Motorhead, they didn't really change much, and it didn't hurt their life at all. People still loved them. With the band, like I said, it was just more growing and stacking on top of what we once created, still sticking to the core, but like how the cosmos has come more into it, and that's just more Satan to me, because it's the most dark, evil, violent place that exists that we know of. Travel, on another aspect. I never thought I'd be traveling like I have with this band, with anything. And when I hear about people complaining about certain things in their country or in their city or politics, I just tell them you need to travel because it'll open your mind. You'll view things a lot differently. A lot of things would really bother you in your home life in your hometown. When you travel, you come home, you're like, oh, what was I even worried about? So I think the band, by us growing and traveling and playing shows more, that changed me immensely, immensely. Because I could see myself younger, I was a little more bitter. I would I would find offense in anything. I'm not saying I've mellowed out, but definitely gives you a lot bigger picture, and I'll use the term, you don't sweat the small stuff as much anymore.
What is the biggest challenge for you to be in a two-piece band as a drummer?
Maybe it's, I don't think about it much, but the one thing that's obvious is when there's only two instruments and one vocal, we have to fill some space a little more. Dagon, Jason's guitar playing, it's full, all the strings.
All these walking bass things?
Yeah, exactly. You keep it active, but not complicated. You want it to be listenable. And then, of course, I try to make the drums musical with the guitar, and fill it up, make it seem more dense. And we don't use any tricks or anything like that to make it sound bigger. But I think it's just, and it's also, we've been playing together for 20 years, over 20 years now, so.
Could I actually find your drumming a little bit jazzy compared to the other black metal
You can
bands?
thank my father for that one. You can thank my father for that one. Showing me some incredible jazz drummers, because that was the extreme death metal, black metal drummer of the day, or jazz drummers. Nobody could touch them. I even think some jazz drummers blow away some of your real technical drummers. Maybe they each can't do what each other can, although some do. Just the technique is amazing with jazz. And I'm not really a big jazz fan. It's more the drumming, because it's hard to do, so it's a challenge, so it makes me want to do it. And yeah, there's nothing worse than just doing the same beat and then changing to another beat, a couple drum fills, a couple cymbal accents, and that's it. You got to put some personality into it. Mm-hmm. And just by doing a little jazzy things here and there, that doesn't immediately make you something special, but it definitely stands out. I've had many influences. I don't know if that's going to be one of the questions coming up, but some strange things, like even the drummer for the Doors was a big influence when I was a kid on his strange little accents. Mm-hmm. Because he wasn't really jazzy. It was more like the psychedelic era, but he did some amazing things that stand out. Like, I could be listening to this music I don't like, but hear one little accent on the drums and be like, hey, that would really work in this type of situation. Yeah. Unknowingly, jazz did help me in my years of learning how to play drums.
Have you ever experimented, or would you like to experiment with other instruments?
Yeah, it's strange. I find all instruments interesting, and I've dabbled with piano, keyboards. Coming from a musical family, we had all the instruments in the house: pianos. Dad was a jazz trumpet player. My mother was a piano player. All the kids had instruments, so I definitely fooled around with everything, and I could play something on everything. But for some reason, the drums just were the main focus. Yeah, definitely the main focus. Mm-hmm. I could play some like Slayer riffs on the guitar, or some Metallica riffs, but that was about it.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that different kinds of percussions and rhythm styles have different energies?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yes. I don't even know how to embellish on that. It's quite obvious, the different energies, because it puts you in a different mood. More erratic is going to bring you up. More slow and paced, it's going to put you into a trance type state. I was just actually listening to, going through random music, and I heard a song by a 60s band called the Moody Blues, and they use these strange soundscapes, but constantly a repetitious beat playing with all this craziness going on. So it's chaos, and then this one little drum beat in the middle. Set it all in one package. So I've never really heard the band before, but I was amazed by by what a drum beat could do in a situation.
Mm-hmm. And how would you express yourself if there was no music in your life?
Like if I wasn't a drummer, what would I be doing?
Mm-hmm.
When I was a little kid, typically I was into sports. I played football, but it never went anywhere because I wasn't big. So sports wasn't really a thing, even though I liked them as a kid. I played soccer. I would have to say drumming and just music alone. I mainly think it's my parents.
Mm-hmm.
That they both had good jobs, but they both admitted that they didn't like what they were doing, and both of them wanted a career in music, but it's just not how it worked out. So surprisingly, even though at the time I didn't want to admit it, my parents had a huge influence on me.
Mm-hmm. And besides music, do you have any hobbies?
Yes, I like shooting. I am a gun owner. I don't hunt. It's more just blowing things up, shooting stuff, targets. It's always, I didn't come from a family of gun owners or anything like that, or hunters, so it's a strange thing. I was the first one in the family to really be interested in it. And that was from meeting certain friends that just had families that were more oriented. So I'd go to the friend's house for a weekend and got into shooting. But other than that, mainly it's I'm an avid video game player, and I'm obsessed with finding the perfect movie. I'm really into movies, all types of movies. It's not really a hobby, but it's something fascinating. I'm just hoping I'm not going to run out of movies to watch, because it's amazing how much stuff has been filmed that we don't even know about yet. Kind of like music. We're still finding bands from '72 that are playing doom metal that we've never heard of, and it's probably the darkest thing you've ever heard, and you still haven't heard it. Or the thrash bands from the early '80s that you've never heard of, and they're amazing.
Right. Last few questions. If you could pick the bands for an Inquisition tribute album, who would you like to hear to cover your songs?
Just go with Rush. wouldn't that be amazing? Rush. That would be strange, but and I'm sure Neil would blow me away at my own stuff. Get it more our style. Amazingly, and this is going to sound cliche because we're on tour with him right now, but hearing more symphonic, more symphonic, maybe a little more structured sounding. It would be interesting to hear different styles of bands doing our music. Dagon always mentions he would love our music to be transcribed or put into music, and then have a symphony play it and stand there watching.
Like orchestrated?
Yeah, orchestrated, and to be able to stand there and have it played to you, it would be awe-inspiring to have that, of course. Like if you're asking like specific black metal bands,
Any kind of bands?
yeah. See, that's where I think it would be special if it was like different styles of bands, so you could get a different aspect to it.
Please name your 5 favorite albums of all time.
Oof, I knew this is the one that I was most nervous about, because everybody's watching and they're like, yeah, well, I'm gonna have to say what I've already said. The first one that my brother bought me, the Rush Exit Stage Left, I actually liked it better than Moving Pictures, the album that was the tour of. The live sound was amazing. I'd have to say Hell Awaits. That was the first Slayer I heard, surprisingly. I know, I wasn't true enough at the time to hear Show No Mercy or Honey in the Chapel, but those came quickly after. I did go through a bit of a hardcore period, and I can't really name the album, of Discharge that got me into Discharge. I think it was the second album. They'll kill me if I can't remember, but I believe it was the second album. It's a tough one. There's so many. It's hard to put it into that because on any given day, I'll think differently too.
Something more recent, maybe?
Something more recent. Whoa, surprisingly, I just heard right before I left. I do like the new Morbid Angel.
You do?
I do like it. And I did take my time to listen to it. I do like it. Also, my friend is plays drums on it.
From Abysmal Down.
Yeah, yes. He's an amazing guy. He also let me use his drum kit for the video we just filmed. And that's when I learned that he actually got to track with Morbid Angel. And, very happy for him. And of course I was like, so what is it like? And he's like, just wait, you're gonna like it. And I do like it. I hate it when things are hyped and you get it and you don't appreciate it at first, and then maybe 2 years later you'll hear it again in some situation. You're like in somebody's car or at a party. What is that in the background? Oh, it's the such and such. And you're like, oh, I thought I didn't like that, but now I'm liking it.
What did you think about Illo Divino Samus?
3 songs.
You like?
Yeah. Or
Existo Volgare?
yeah. Definitely that one. Definitely that one. It's more like 2.5, I would say. And that's not putting it down. It's just that's what they wanted to do. The band members have backgrounds in certain genres they like, and that's exactly what they were doing. And it was kind of like the Reformation time, so it was a kind of a. They were definitely trying to do something, and they accomplished it, and they got a couple of good songs on it.
One more album left, the top 5 list.
Alan Parsons' Turn of a Friendly Card. That's something that didn't change my thought of music. It didn't inspire me amazingly, but listening to mainly a few tracks on that album, it was like something refreshing, something different. It didn't change me, of course, into wanting to play a different style or anything, but so it was something old, recorded I think in '78 or something, and that I just discovered now. So to me, it's something new, and it made an impact on me.
Any last words to your fans?
Of course, thank you and all that, but I'm just amazed that 2 guys practicing in a practice room, coming up with the riffs we want to hear, drum beats we want to hear, that would actually amount to something. It meant a lot to us at the time, but it means a lot to other people. It's overwhelming and it's humbling. And I'd say we haven't even begun yet. There's so much to come. I'm going to stop right here because of that, because I could go on for an hour. And there's still many places where we want to travel, even if it's kind of a risky area. We've taken many chances traveling to some of your countries, and it's always worked out good for us. We're still alive, and the more extreme the country, we'd like to go. Actually, we just went to Egypt not too long ago, right after a really bad time in their history, and it was one of the most amazing experiences. Some of the most loving, open people. That's why I'll never believe when I'm told people from a certain area or a certain way, or usually when you hear people are maybe a negative, in a way, negative, you'll find out it's the exact opposite. For one thing, Colombia, we have to mention that. It's my second country now. Yes, I'm not fluent in Spanish, but I love the country the same, and I don't think languages have to do with anything, but the respect and the support and just the openness we've experienced in Colombia changed my life, basically. My family actually scolded me before, when I told them that I was going to be going to Colombia in 1998. It was still during the dark period of their history. And when I came back and told them my experience, they actually felt bad, and they said, well, we'll never tell you not to go anywhere again, or suggest you don't go anywhere again. That's dangerous. Because you can't judge a book by its cover. You can't. Other than that, thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you very much. Hail Satan.
That was a great chat. Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you. Thank you.